Welcome back to Travel Show Live with Steve Perillo,
Wow, we gotta work on that.
who's special guest today, if I may speak to myself in the third person. Steve's special guest is Erik Hastings. He's not only my friend, but he is my media mentor.
Oh,
if you think I have a future
that's nice.
in the media,
Thanks, Steve.
in webcasting, or maybe in the big screen someday.
Sure.
I mean, major motion pictures.
Your face just gets bigger. That's all that happens. It's all the same, pretty much.
Listen, we left on the edge of a cliff. You were going to tell us how you got to be a WABC radio announcer, or a travel show man.
Okay. Well, here's what happened. So I've been doing music radio since I was 15, right? So I got my first job at a Christian radio station on Sunday mornings. I worked 6 to noon. I literally came in, turned on the transmitter. My mom had to drive me to work every Sunday until I got a driver's license.
Christian radio?
Yes.
So you missed church to do the radio show?
Yes,
that doesn't make any
I know.
sense.
I had to go at another time because I worked from noon to 6.
Good.
That's
as long
the
as you
thing.
made it.
I did. So that's how I started. Then I did oldies back then, and I did top 40, and I was, but when I moved to New York 13 years ago in '96, I left radio. I left my full-time job. I left it all. And about...
well, what did you arrive thinking you were going to do here in this big...
Pursue my acting career.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so...
You didn't mention that.
Well,
so
you didn't ask about that. Yeah. So you kind of move to where the work is, you know what I mean? So I'd pretty much done everything I wanted to do in Des Moines, and I was either going to move to Chicago, L.A., or New York. And I've always loved New York. I came to visit here when I was 13 and knew this is pretty much where I wanted to live. So I moved here with I was trying to save $5,000. I saved $1, and I was like, oh, the hell with it, I'll just move. So I moved. $1? Yes, $1, yes. Thank you, John.
That was going to be your trust fund for coming in.
Correct. I thought I could live on $5,000 for a year.
Right.
Or whatever.
Just the
right.
security deposits.
Exactly.
Twice that.
So and I left radio because I always viewed radio as kind of like my job. Like that's kind of it wasn't really my passion, even though it was. It's hard to explain that. But anyway, so I was like, I want to leave radio because I want to focus on the acting career. Well, about a year or so, I'd done a couple of small gigs here. But I was, of course, frustrated, and my friend Shadley said, he said, why don't you go back to radio? At least you could pursue acting while you're doing radio. And I said, okay, I suppose that's a good idea. I needed the money, and
you don't just do radio. What are you talking about? Do radio? I want a radio show. Give me a radio show.
I know. Well, so I started calling production directors at music radio stations because I knew music radio better than anything else. I'd done production. I made commercials and all that kind of good stuff. And I knew program directors were too busy to take phone calls, but production directors weren't. So Gene Wooten at WPLJ listened to all my tapes. He was very nice to me. And it went on. It was like a 6-month affair on the phone.
Who takes calls at a radio station?
A production director. I figured that was my strategy. Because a program director, Scott Shannon or Tom Cuddy or any of those guys, they're too busy. No, they would. I'm nobody. A production director might. And I knew how to do production. So anyway, he called me one day and he said, I'll never forget it, because he called me and he said, I think this is beneath your abilities, but would you consider interviewing for a vacation relief board op job at our sister station, WABC? That is exactly how he said it to me.
Board operator?
Yeah, running the board.
You mean screening phone calls?
No, running the soundboard.
Oh, okay. So you were prepared to be an engineer as well?
Correct, because I'd run my own board since I was 15 years old. I knew how to run a board.
You filled in as a board operator.
That's how I started at WABC.
And you were going to leave after the person came back from vacation?
No, then they liked me. So I started doing more fill-ins and more. I eventually worked for the Rush Limbaugh program for a couple of years. I worked with Kit and Kathleen and all those guys. And
Kit, who's Kathleen?
Kit Carson, who's the executive producer, chief of staff. Kathleen
when
Gleason.
He was
here.
When he was here, now he's in Palm Beach.
Correct.
I think.
So. I worked with the Sean Hannity program. I launched his program. Then I eventually started doing Curtis and Kuby. I started doing funny little bits.
But as a producer, you mean all along?
all not doing anything on air. I started doing the funny comedy bits. And all of this is the long answer to when I stepped into our general manager's office and I said, I'm making these videos for travel, and I want you to sit on my advisory board for my business plan. He said, okay, whatever you want, Erik. You worked here for a decade. We were friends. Tim McCarthy's friends of mine, and he watched the videos. He watched 2 episodes from our first city, and he said, these are really good. How can we make money at it? How can we? And I said, well, you could have a travel show on the weekend. You've never had a travel show before, and now And he said, yeah, but travel on the radio is kind of boring. You know, he was kind of thinking about our competitor who does a travel show. And I said, yeah, but travel doesn't have to be boring. And travel can be interesting even on the radio.
But you were not a recognized radio personality.
No.
At that time.
Not in New York. Not in New York.
How did they think you could do it? I mean, it's a special skill.
You gotta start somewhere. I mean, you know.
They just threw you on the air? I mean.
Well, we talked about it. It took about 6 months, and I said to Phil, you know, I did a couple demos for Phil to show him that I can talk straight for 20 minutes. And,
right.
And, you know, he kind of hemmed and hawed around. And Phil Boyce, my boss, and he's always been very supportive of me, and he called me one day. Out of the blue, I was in Memphis. And he called. I picked up the phone in my hotel room, and he said, "It's Phil." It was like a Thursday, and he said, "Okay, your first show is this Sunday."
Wow.
And I was like, "I'm busy. I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be traveling on that Sunday." He goes, "Let me get this straight. I'm calling you to tell you doing your first show, and you're telling me I'm busy." I said, "Yeah, I've got to go shoot some videos."
Are you crazy?
We started the next week. So we started. So yeah, that's how we did travel on the radio, because of the videos actually.
So where can you go from here? I mean, you zoom to the top as far as I'm concerned. What can you,
we can do
television,
movies.
Major.
I'm not sure that television is everything that it's cracked up to be these days.
Travel is visuals. What do you mean?
Yeah,
Travel?
but television, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Because
can you quiet down on the set here, please?
What happened? Did I black out? Oh no. I'm not sure. What is going on? What? Oh no! Why do they do this? Do they do this to you? Sons of bitches.
Is anything you said so far true?
No, not one thing. I made it all up. I'm not actually Erik Hastings.
So you don't think television is worthy of travel? Radio's better for travel?
No. I think it's all about the web.
Oh.
And I'm not saying that television isn't television, because it is. I watch TV. Yeah, right.
Me too.
But I think there's more potential growth on the web. I think people want the information on their terms. I think they want it sometimes with commercials, sometimes without. I think they want unbiased, good, opinionated information that they can use. I mean, I think that's the only place we can go that I can see. Now, if we were going to do a television show, yeah. But even if we were to do a TV show today, it would have a strong web component with it. Mm-hmm. Really, I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah.
So that's why we launched the web show earlier in July. So now we do the 2 hours on the weekend on the radio, and then we do 2 hours on the web as well.
So people go to your website. There's a lot to learn, because you're going to all these destinations and
then that's what I do during the week. Right.
And it's very, very helpful. You got to explain it. Your little nuggets on each city that in 30 seconds.
We try to take what are called destination overviews and give people an experiential video that they can expect when they go there.
Right.
So what ends up happening is I get more email on the radio show saying, I went to your website, I watched this place, I watched the video on New Orleans, for instance. I went to New Orleans, and New Orleans looked like your video did. They're shocked.
You prepared me for what to do.
Yeah, what to do, where to stay, where to go, blah, blah, but without a lot of extra stuff.
It's a great service. It's free for now, so you really might as well take advantage of it.
Yeah, and we want to keep making videos during the week, and then come back on the weekends and do the show.
You're unbelievable. You traveling anytime soon?
I am traveling. I'm going to Italy.
Italia!
You love Italia!
Finalmente.
We're going to go to places I've never been in Italy, which I'm very excited to go to. They're like checking them off the list one by one.
Yeah.
Florence, Pisa, two of the places I really, really am excited to go, and Venice. And then we're going to do the Amalfi Coast as well.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite.
Is that your favorite, really?
Yeah, just about. Yeah, Naples. That's where mozzarella comes from. That's where pizza comes from.
How can you not? Yeah. So that's what we're going to do next. That's my next trip.
Congratulations. Good luck in your career.
Thanks.
Unbelievable.
Thanks for having me here.
Oh, my
this is exciting.
Pleasure.
I'm excited to do this program. Plus, I get to talk about me. My favorite subject.
But I heard everything you said was a lie. Other than that,
according to the graphics.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to say farewell to Erik. This is his trick chair. That's all of his hosts in.
I do. Wow, that's pretty cool. How did you do that? That's neat.
I press a special button.
Tell Harry hi for me, will you? I like Harry. I miss him.
Bye. See you next week, everyone.